So this morning we have Marty Daniels with 90.9 The River Radio, and he is going to give us some information about what he does and why. Marty, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thanks to Heap, Rachel, and thanks for inviting me. I appreciate that. It's awful nice. Did not know about this group at all. I'm kind of new to the community. Only been here in Lancaster for, since April, May. And so that's probably why. But nonetheless, Rachel invited me. And so I joined the River back in March and worked out of the Columbus office for the first couple of several weeks, I should say, because they wanted to kind of train me on some things and all that good stuff, and that was appreciated. And then they said, "Hey, go down into Fairfield County, Lancaster," which is the job I interviewed for, and just let them know that we're in the community, that we're not just this radio station far off that's not interested in what's happening in the community, but that we really want to see how we can add to the community, how we can contribute into the community, how it can be part of the community and serve the community in the best possible way. And I'm really surprised, candidly, that I'm here. I never once in my life ever thought that I would live in Lancaster, Ohio, be in Fairfield County. I literally had not been in Fairfield or Lancaster for 30 some years of my last several years here. Had lived outside of Central Ohio and was working with radio stations elsewhere. Just to give you a little bit of background about me, I did grow up in Columbus and started hanging out at radio stations when I was really, really young, like 9 years old young. WCOL, hung out over there, and then got on at WNCI and worked there for a while, and QFM 96 and Sunny 95, and did all those stops, and then got out of radio in 1997 and started a record label of all things. Sold that off to EMI Capital back in 99, and then got back in radio in Tampa, Florida, and then went to Columbus again, and left radio in 2003 and did stand-up comedy for the next 8 years, and I was doing about 150 shows a year, and became a dad, and said that was not conducive to my dadly duties. So I got back in radio, and that was in Nashville that time. And so I worked in Nashville then for the next several years, and took some time in Cincinnati as well, went back to Nashville, and now here I am in Lancaster, Ohio. And I never had anything in opposition to Lancaster. I just never had any reason to be here that I knew of. Had I known about it, I'd have got here sooner, but I got here as soon as I could. So my wife and family and I, we are loving getting connected into the community, and just learning how one, the station can serve the community, but number two, how we can participate in the community personally. My wife and I have always been involved wherever we're at with libraries or nonprofit organizations serving the homeless. My wife is a huge animal lover, and so we've always found our way to the various animal shelters and rescues and things like that as well. And obviously, I don't obviously, but my wife and I, we adopted. We were foster parents for 10 years, and so at the end of that rainbow, we became a mom and a dad to two young guys that are now 11 years old, and they are constantly teaching me something and borderline going to kill me because I am an old dad and they are very young and have a lot of energy. So at least I'll look good or like this when I die. So, all right. But that's a little bit about me. And the river, is for those of you who are maybe not familiar with it, for the last 20 years has been a contemporary Christian music radio station here in Central Ohio. And until December of this last year here, we subscribed to what's called the Nielsen ratings, where we were rated in the top 10, and we are consistently a top 10 radio station, more likely a top 5 radio station in Central Ohio. We have about 250,000 listeners every 15 minutes to the station. In Lancaster and Fairfield County specifically, what that means is we have about 10,000 individual unique listeners every 15 minutes in Lancaster. And so that's really good for a town the size of Lancaster. I know everybody at these radio stations in Lancaster. I've worked with them all, and I really dig them. So if they say bad things about them, you just let them know that I was talking good about them. But, you know, Mark Bohack over at the Wolf, and Mike O'Reilly over at I think it's called WLRY. I'm sorry, it's another Christian radio station. And Mike used to be the producer at the morning show at WBNS when I worked there. And then Mark Bohack was our engineer at a couple radio stations I worked at. And he always gave me a lot of stress, but overall, nice guy. And so we all know each other and get along swell. But I really want to hear from people in the community about how we can serve you all. And if that means brainstorming maybe ideas or around events that you guys have, that's super. I'd love to do that. I'm a creative type. So I kind of take wheels and turn them to where they fit everybody, as opposed to trying to make people fit rigidly into one spot or another, right? I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry, but does anybody have any questions at all or comments?
Marty, can you tell us about some of the outreach things that 90.9 have done, some of the events and things that you've been involved in?
Sure. Well, since I've been here alone, we've been involved in several. We worked with the folks from Bottoms Up on their world's largest diaper drive in last May. And that was exciting to be a part of. We're going to be part of that again this coming year. And we're excited about that as well. And then we do a lot of stuff with, and I'm sorry, I don't know the name of the shelter up in Columbus there right now. But we do a lot of stuff with women's care and all that. Trafficking. We're very involved with organizations and ministries that stand in opposition of human trafficking and all that, and have, beyond what we do on air, we have a really fantastic building up in Columbus off of Old Hamilton Road. It's actually Gehanna. And this really fantastic place has this really nice basement level conference area where we allow nonprofit organizations to use that area for no charge. If they're having maybe regional or statewide meetings where they need to pull in up to, say, somewhere in the neighborhood of 60, 70 people, you know, it a lot of times is cost prohibitive for organizations, especially nonprofits, to put together the resources to dedicate towards that kind of thing. And so we make that available to some nonprofit, to any nonprofit pretty much that would contact us. The other thing is that we also personally here in Lancaster, you know, we've been everywhere. We participated with all the parades and the Kids and Cops things that are going on. I think that's really important. We're very supportive of our veterans, and looking, actually, I'm specifically looking for something to do with our veterans because personally, my family is 4 generations military, and that skipped me because I guess I was just a little too odd for them, but just couldn't do it. So I'm really looking for some way for us to get involved with veterans community, to serve them, you know, in tangible ways, that services and things that they need. What else? We've been to the fair, and I know I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm kind of flailing here, but I know since the day I got in town, we were at 60 different public things where we supported different nonprofit organizations, and I'll be darned if I can remember even one of them right now. So I'm sorry, but I know I set up that daggone tent a lot of different places. So
I've seen that tent a lot of places. That's why I was kind of getting at. So you have your office at Connection West. So I'm
yeah,
sure that you've done some things with them in the past couple months.
reluctantly, I'm not a big fan of what they. No, I'm just teasing. I love what they do here. They've been a really welcoming community here, and real happy to be part of what they're doing here. Yeah, for sure. We've done everything that they've been done. We've volunteered and been a part of.
Does anybody have any questions? No.
This is an awkward silence.
Well, I like to fill awkward silences, so I was going to tell everyone. So I met Marty through Connection West, just being in that building and, passing him in the hallway. And he's a pretty interesting dude. So if we talked about him this entire, like we could fill up an hour talking about the things that he's done, amazing things. But I have to say, and this is going to show my age, but he used to work with Susie Wad on 92X, which I think is amazing. He told me that and I'm like, what?
Everybody on the call goes, who? Yes, I know.
No, they may not know, like Tana may not know, I'm not sure, but I mean, I listened to 92X in like what, the late 80s, mid 80s, early 90s, I don't know. But when he told me that, I was like, this dude is amazing. So
it's because of my connection to Susie Wad. That's it.
I mean, maybe not completely, but
no.
But anyway, I was pretty impressed with that. So if any of you guys know who that is, you'll understand what I mean. So anyway, I wanted to bring Marty on because he is in the building and we've had all these other different organizations from Connection West together. So I wanted to like cap that off. These are all the people that are involved there. And then if you have events and things that you would need possibly 90.9 to attend or, however that works out, then you would have his information. So
I would like to say why it would benefit people to have us attend different things as well is because we bring in outside people a lot of times. In other words, like for instance, with the farmers market, we find a lot of people coming to the farmers market, not from Fairfield County necessarily, but from Franklin County. And so that's kind of like a little juice to stuff because specifically for them, means outside revenue or found money essentially. And we're going to be set up with the farmers market again this year as well. And we love that. So that's why it would benefit people. We don't charge people to do this. If you're a nonprofit organization or anything like that, we're not charging people for that. I mean, R&R Tires just went in over on Memorial. Yes, we charged for that, but that's because that's a commercial business. But for nonprofits, we don't charge.
Kyle Miller, did you want to say something? You unmuted.
I was just playing with my all of my settings here. I did want to say that you left off one main thing. It's not just Susie Wad.
No, it's Marty Daniels.
Susie Wad.
Susie Wad, the stereo quad. Let's be honest.
Yes,
quad Susie Wad. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for
now,
that.
I will give anybody who could do it $5 if they can do her Friday scream.
No.
Okay. All right. Well.
Marty, I have a question in the chat. Do you have any internship opportunities? We have a client that it is her dream to be part of a radio station.
Heck yeah. In fact, what I'm doing right now is in this community in Fairfield County, I'm putting together a team of volunteer interning promotions people. That's exactly how I started when I was a kid. And I'm not kidding. When I was 9 years old, I was hanging out with Spook Beckman, who was at 92. That's how I got in at 92X. He was a legendary guy in Columbus, and he was friends with my grandfather. So the answer is yes. And internships work, and they're great, and that's how people fall in love with radio. So sure. Just I tell you. Let me tell you how to get a hold of me. There you go. Marty Daniels. That's me. My email address is mdaniels@riverradio.com. Or you can feel free to call me directly at 615-946-7345. Wow, I don't know if that's Marvin or not, but I appreciate him doing that in the background. If you guys heard that.
Hey, Rachel.
Yeah.
This is Karen.
Hi.
This is Karen Dawson. Hi. Marty, I was at an event about 2 years ago and you guys were there and it was
Okay.
awesome. I mean, I don't even remember the event, but I know I had to drive. I think it was somewhere in Pickerington.
Okay.
And you showed up and you showed out. It was really neat. I really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And, I always love hearing that, from people when they've had a great experience with our station.
It was really nice. It was one of the best things that happened at the event. I just wanted to say that.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. I appreciate that. Thanks.
No problem.
Yeah. And a lot of you guys, I'm so sorry, I don't really know yet. And I would love to get to know you all because, again, I think it's through conversations and through familiarity that we learn how to serve one another. So I really am hyper interested in learning how this station can serve your organizations and this community in a more meaningful way than simply playing, positive, uplifting music and, running public service announcements.
Marty, I put your email and your phone number into the chat, so you might want to look at that and make sure I got the phone number in right. I was trying to type it in there quickly. Sarah, can you see that in there? You got the email address? Okay, perfect. Does anyone else have any questions?
Rachel, I was going to ask one question.
Okay, hey, Kim.
Hi, I was just wanting to know, Marty, do you have a website that people can go to, like to see where you're going to be at for events or things of that nature?
Sure. Yeah. Riverradio.com is our website. We're also on all of the usual suspects as far as social media, Facebook, Instagram, and I do believe Pinterest as well.
Okay.
In Daniels River Radio. Yeah, that's the email address is correct, numbers right, web address is right, all that good stuff. Yeah.
And does that make you, or are you associated then with the River Church? I was just curious.
No, we are not affiliated with River Church or even the River Store over at the mall, because there's a lot of rivers in Fairfield County that we were not aware of.
Okay.
But the River Radio Station is an independent nonprofit radio station that has been in operation since 1963. Prior to becoming the River, it operated as WCVO, which was a combination of teaching and talk on 104.9 based out of Columbus. 20 years ago, they flipped to entirely contemporary Christian music.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for asking.
Okay. All right. Well, I think there's no other questions. So if no one has anything else, I just want to say, Marty, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you being on. As I said before, you're an interesting dude. So maybe we should have you back later just for I don't know, a discussion about your entire life, because it's crazy and it's awesome. So thank you for spending the time with us this morning.
I'm so happy to do it, Rachel. Thanks so much for the invitation. I appreciate everybody's time.
All right, guys. So next month, it's going to get weird saying next month instead of next week on Virtual Community. We're going to have Lancaster Parks and Recs, and they are going to give us a tour of their exercise facility, which I can't remember the names other than Lancaster Parks and Recs Recreation Facility. That's at Olivedale. So they're going to give us a rundown on what they have, openings they have for fitness classes and then memberships there, and give us kind of a tour. And then also after that in March, we're going to have 4-H. So Leslie Cooksey is going to be here from 4-H, giving us information about how people can get involved in that, when registration is, all the different programs that they offer. So that's a little recap of what's coming up the next couple months. So hope to see you guys all there. And other than that, have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Karen.
See you later, Rachel.